Hello and welcome back to our channel. Today we are going to be taking you through a lower body warm up for your squats and your deads. We'll be starting with some activation movements and then heading into some mobility movements. We want to make sure that our quads and our glutes and our hamstrings are all fired up to make sure that we are squatting nice and deep, standing up nice and fast out of the hole and not using our lower back too much when you are deadlifting. And then with the mobility, a lot of people do struggle hitting depth in their squat. So we'll be taking you through some ankle mobility exercises and some hip opening exercises to make sure that you squat nice and deep on your next leg day. Okay, so I am going to start with some activation. I'm actually going to start with some core stability movements. So we're going to use the McGill Big Three for this one. So starting off, we're going to do the curl up. I'm going to place one hand under my lower back. My other hand's going to be feeling my core. I'm going to be taking a big brace. I can't talk and brace at the same time. But all I'm going to do is just lift my head off the floor, but I'm going to try and feel my core really working. I don't want my neck to take over or my lower back to take over. I just want it to all be in my core. Keep that lower back dug into the floor. Thinking about pulling my belly button down towards the floor. Next, we're going to move on to some side planks. So I'm just going to keep my legs extended if I can. If not, I can do it on my knees. I'm going to go with an extended version. And all I'm doing is I'm just picking my hips up off the floor, keeping my core nice and tight. I'm going to hold this for around 30 seconds. Keeping those hips up nice and high. Once I've held that, I'm going to switch over to the other side. Again, hips up. Keep that core nice and tight the whole time. Check it's all working. Okay, then the last one is bird dogs. So I'm just going to go over onto my knees, hands in front, and all I'm doing is extending my opposite arm to opposite leg. I'm going to keep my core nice and tight. I'm not going to arch my back or anything. So again, thinking about pulling that belly button in. Reach out in front, hands to the fist. Hold. And then back down. We want to avoid any swaying side to side, any wobbling. Keep that core nice and tight. And I'll do about 10 reps of this. If you're looking for something a little bit more challenging for your core, we can take the full plank. Keep those feet a little bit wider apart, and we're just lifting one arm at a time. But we want to avoid any movement through our hips, so try and keep the glutes nice and still. Keep the core switched on. Really think about staying nice and straight, parallel to the floor. If you find that your hips are swaying side to side, just take a little bit of a wider stance with your feet. Now I'm going to move on to some glute activation. I'm going to stick a booty band around my ankles. And first thing that I'm going to do is some crab walk. I'm going to get nice and low into the squat. And I'm just doing some lateral steps out to the side, really stretching that band out. You should feel your glute med firing up. And then once I've done it forwards, I'm going to go backwards. Then I'm going to head over, hold on to something, make sure I'm nice and stabilized. And we're going to just do some kickbacks now with the band around my ankles. Again, just firing up those glutes. And then once I've done them out to the back, I then do them diagonally out the back. Just really making sure that we're targeting all areas of our glutes. Getting those hips nice and warm. Swap over legs after I've done 8 to 10 reps. Another one that we have is down back on the floor. It's the lock clam. So it's a little bit of a modification of clamshells. So we're gonna lay on our side. We're gonna take our foot up and just cross it over the other ankle and then just roll slightly into the floor so that knee touches. And then all we're doing is just lifting our knee up as far as we can and then placing it back down nice and slowly. So this is really good for people that have any hip flexor pain, any SI joint pain. Again, you should feel this in your glutes. Really, really important that we've got our glutes nice and fired up to avoid our lower back taking over in these movements. Another good one to include is glute bridges, and then we can add a little variation in as well. So here's just the standard glute bridge here, squeezing your glutes right up at the top. And then we can also do these single leg. Here, we're going to keep our leg out straight, lift our glute off the floor, bring that knee in. Just bringing in a little bit of mobility now. It's 10 reps per leg. Also with the booty band, just to make sure our hip flexors are nice and warm as well. Starting to include a little bit of quad as well now. We're going to put the booty band around our ankles again. And we're just bringing our foot up nice and fast and then holding at the top. Really working in on that hip flexor. The band rolled. Then we're going to do some step ups, making sure our quads are nice and fired up and we're standing really nice and fast in our deadlift and our squat. So find a bench, find a step, one foot on, then just nice and fast. Light touch on the floor with the other foot. Really driving through your toe. So nice and slow on the way down. Keep that knee over your toe. And make sure when you're doing this, your knee isn't caving in. When we squat, we don't want to bandy our knees. So you want to think about pushing your knee out over your third and fourth toe. Another activation exercise that I like to do is some Copenhagen planks. So this is really good if you have got hip pain, firing up the adductors, especially if you pull sumo. So what I'm going to do is just going to place one foot up top. It's easier the further your leg is on, further away a little bit harder. I'm going to take my elbow onto the floor, and then all I'm doing is squeezing up into a plank, but bringing this leg up from the floor, lowering my hip back down, opening the groin, and then back up. Once I've done 8 to 10 reps on one leg, I'm going to swap over. Other leg on, elbow down, bring that hip up, close the gap. So we're going to head over to some mobility exercises now, really open out our hips, warming up those ankles, making sure that we can hit that depth. So first one that I'm going to do is just a really, really deep squat. So I'm going to take a nice wide stance. I'm going to sit down into it. I'm going to put my elbows on the inside of my knees, and I'm just going to push out, sit nice and low into it. I can even rock side to side just for a bit of extra stretch. And you can even add a plate here too, just to make it a little bit more challenging. Really sinking into that deep squat, keeping your hips nice and open. From here, I like to do some hip gliders. So I'm gonna go down onto one knee, keep that foot turned out, have this foot sort of in like a right angle shape with your knee, and then I'm just pushing over, getting that stretch here down my Achilles, opening out the hips, and I'm just gonna rock into it, hold, should feel a nice stretch down the hip, holding each time. Okay, so we're gonna be working on ankle mobility now. So I'm just gonna hold onto a bar, I'm just gonna push my knees right forwards over my toes, and I should feel that stretch down my Achilles. Hold it, come back up, sink back down so you can get a little bit further. Really important that we keep our heels down on the floor here. If you want to increase this, we can take just one step forwards, push forwards into it a little bit more. And then to increase this even more, you can actually head over to a bench, take one foot on top, get yourself a weight, like a kettlebell, and then we're just pushing forwards, doing some knee glides, making sure that knee goes over the toe. Like I said earlier as well, we don't want it to be coming in, so we're not going to be squatting with our knees turned in. We want to be externally rotating our femurs, so push that knee over our third and fourth toe. Push right in, keep that heel flat. A little bit more with opening the hips. We're going to just do some dynamic stretching here, some side leg swings on both legs. Switch over. Again, just 8 to 10 reps of this. We can do forwards and backwards. Getting a little bit of a hamstring stretch in there too. And our hip flexors. And then just some opening the gate. I think this is what we used to call it in football training, right? Open and close the gate. Now we're going to head under a bar for our squats. So we're going to take everything that we've just done in our warm-up and really apply it when we squat now. Under the bar. I'm just going to take just the bar. No weight on there yet. And again, we're just warming up exactly how we would do our top set. So nice and deep, nice and slow and controlled, big break. Tight core, really bracing. Knee over toe. There we go. Thank you for watching our video. We hope that you found this nice and helpful and you can implement these exercises into your next leg day. If you are looking for a coach, then check out down below. The inquiry form is there. Fill that in. A coach will be in contact. And if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.